Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Flip. On this podcast, we talk about how to flip phones and electronics and other stuff. This is the biggest phone flipping podcast in the world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Yeah, it
is.
is. With that being said, a couple of things, guys. Make sure to check out my book. You can get it for free on the podcast, totally free. It's also for free in my school community. If you join the school community, you have 5 days to finish the course. Otherwise, you get banned from that community. Okay, so be aware. Finish the course. 2,000 plus people have been banned. With that being said, we're just gonna jump right in today, guys. I'm not gonna pitch anything. If you Recelerator, Resell Deck, Console Kings, there they are below. Check them out. With that being said, Kevin Price is with us again today. This is his third time on the podcast, I
It's only
think.
my second, I think.
Second. Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought it was your third.
Hmm.
But either way, I really like documenting these like repeat podcasts because I think it's fun to like watch where people go in their journey, right? Where it's like if you're on the podcast one, two, three, like I would say more than twice, like people see a incredible difference between the first episode and the second episode and then the third episode. Like
Hmm.
we saw that with Spencer, it was a whole thing, right? So I
Hmm.
want to I want to keep that kind of alive. But since you were on the podcast last time, the last time you were on, you had just broken the 10K profit, the coveted 10K profit month. And now you've done that many times, almost without trying at this point. I think like the last couple days, you even said you've been a little sick, but like the leads have just kept coming, and like you're almost forced to pick up deals that are massively profitable. So, how
For
like
me.
isn't it's such a change, isn't it? Like how like you go from chasing people to people chasing you.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before where sometimes it feels like on those days where you're just like, I don't even want your business, they want you even more.
Yes.
When you don't care, they start caring more.
I think it's funny. I
Um,
love that.
but yeah, man, it's been a long journey and I'm happy to have some growth to share. I remember we've been talking about me getting on the podcast for a while now, and I've either, been in one situation or another. Quite often it's been just like a scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I was delaying it was like I wanted to actually come back when I knew that I could communicate like, hey, these are some things that I've done, these are some systems that I've improved, and this is, how much my income has improved. And I wanted to come on when I was at a place where I was proud of what I could share. And I feel like I am in a position to say that pretty confidently now. So I'm really grateful to be in this position. And yeah, you're not wrong. I have been sick, and it's been, the past week I've been like lowering ad spend, and people are still hitting me up. And actually at a point in my business where I'm scared to increase ad spend because I genuinely just don't know if I can handle the volume that's about to come if I do Oh boy. Oh boy.
I think it I love it because I mean you were sharing with me the other day some numbers. And you were basically saying like, this feels good. Like
Yeah,
I feel on top of my life right now. Like
yeah.
things are in place, they're working. And I don't think a lot of people ever get to that point. I think a lot of people feel like strung along by life rather.
Mhm.
Where like once you finally get in control of your finances, I know you've been working a lot on like building the business around your life. Which is a big thing that I mean, I think you learned it before I did. Like, because for me, it was work, 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 and then I had to pull back, and once we had the new baby, it was like, let's build this thing around the life a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Um, and I want you to talk a little bit about that. How did you start building the business around your life? Like, I think that would be a great topic to start on.
It is a great topic, and it's something that I've always wanted to work on since the beginning. And I think that's why I am where I am, is like even before I ever started this business, I wanted to um, kind of reach a point of self-actualization in a sense, I know
Hmm.
Chris isn't with us. Maybe he got pulled by his family, but no, he's back now. But you're still muted. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
sorry,
it was
the dog
always
was knocking
like a
on the
goal
door.
of mine to be very intentional about everything that I'm doing. And so from the very beginning, when I was learning with Josh Holiday, who I mentioned the first time I
Hmm.
was on, he was like my original mentor. Um, I kept on seeing, a lot of people talking about, you just got to keep hustling, you just got to keep doing this, keep doing that. And one of the
Yeah.
things that they were saying is like, you got to, drive to people. Like if the deal is good enough, sometimes you're going to have to drive to people.
Yeah.
And from the roots of, from my beginnings of that
Hmm.
time, none of that sat well with me. I was like, either this industry isn't for me, or I'm going to have to find a way to build this business in such a way that I don't have to do those things. And
Yeah.
so that's why, meeting you, Chris, and hearing about your scheduled meetup model where you're just like, I meet people at 12 and 5. Um, it was really nice to hear that. And interestingly, before I even came to you, I kind of was already starting to do that and be like a rebel in the space, or at least that's what it felt like. Because anytime I talked about it, people are just like, no, that's not going to work. And I was like, well, I'm going to try it and I'm going to make it work. And so from
Right.
the very beginning, I've been trying to find a way to make that work. And since then, I've been trying to just find a flow and find a flow and find a flow. Find like what is the amount of leads that I can handle in a given day.
Hmm.
Um, when do I want to wake up? Um, when I do wake up, when does my brain actually turn online? You
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And when do I want to shut down? You know? And it's been an interesting process for me because I this is kind of strange to admit and maybe a little bit embarrassing for me, but like I don't have much of a life. I'm a single guy and I'm trying to like discover myself. And so I've been trying to build the business in such a way where I can actually have the space to like hear my own thoughts and go out and meet people and schedule, fun things to do after work and start to build a life,
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
So um, I'm basically at a point where I'm like meeting people. I wake up on a good day, I've been sick recently, but outside of that, like on a good day, I wake up, I meditate for 10 minutes, and then I go for a walk or I go do a fitness class. And then I kind of just like ease into the morning from there. I eat some breakfast. Um, and then after that, I am pretty much in a place where, like the endorphins and blood is pumping. And I just hammer away leads and I try to close deals from like, by then it's like 10 or 11 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And I do like a power hour or two where I just close leads for the day. I say, hey, these are the times when I'm meeting people. And those times normally are like 12:30, 1 p.m., 5:30, and 6 p.m. So I try to catch the lunch crowd and I try to catch the people after work.
Yeah.
And and then in between those meetups, I do all my other work. So, I'll be packing and shipping things or, maybe listing things on eBay or doing whatever is necessary
Hmm.
between those times.
Yeah.
Um, and then after work, I just kind of shut off. And it's been really interesting because I've actually recently built a business to the point where I have these pockets of time where I normally have otherwise have been working.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like in the middle of like my nervous system is being retrained and like I have these pockets of free time and I don't know what to do with them. So I'm like learning like this is where I have the opportunity to build a life now. And my brain and body still wants to like go and like check Slack messages and like check business messages and do all these things. And I'm actually trying to like actively train myself away from that.
Mm,
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at currently.
I love that. That was very detailed. I love that. Well, don't stay away from Slack. We love you in there. Like, I mean, if we're being real, Slack is, I mean, I like Slack. I go to Slack for entertainment, right? Like,
Mhm.
because I love seeing the wins. I love seeing the stories, what happened today, hacks, right? Because I'm learning from the community now, you know?
Yeah.
Like the whole Valve Index thing that went down yesterday, the headset stuff. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but like, that was good to know,
It
you know?
was.
Like that's good to know.
Yeah.
Um, like before I ship one in, you know?
Yep. Yep.
So I think, yeah, and I mean we're at a place even in the Slack community now where like people like you and Spencer and like a lot Dan and all these guys are now testing things, like which I think is really cool. And that's what I wanted when I built a community is like I didn't want to be the guy that tested everything. I want to do the high level stuff, like you know build the bots and all the automations and stuff. But like you and Dan and all of you guys now are like, I mean, you were the first one to test out the Google lead to everlasting ad thing. You know,
Yeah.
that was pretty dope, and it worked.
It
And
worked overnight.
it was
And
awesome.
I don't know that I've gotten many comments since then, but when it worked overnight, I was just like, okay, I'm integrating this, and I'm going to share it
Yeah.
with everyone. So,
Well, that's all
Yeah.
you needed, right? Was like the
Yeah.
the proof that it worked because the thing is like it'll add them to the invisible list, right, of video watchers. That way you can retarget them later. And that's how that works. It's like they don't even necessarily have to comment. So it's
that,
one of those
yeah, I didn't
things.
even think about that. I was more so thinking of the engagement part of it, but totally
Now, if they
right.
watch that video, you got them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
They watched 3 seconds of it, then we
yeah,
got
they're
them.
hooked. They're in the machine, the retargeting machine now. My
Yeah,
what I'm calling my I'm gonna call it the retargeting tornado, right?
there you
So
go.
like that's what we're doing with Mercury is just retargeting the absolute mess out of people right now. So, but yeah, dude, you've made some significant changes. And I really respect how much you like try to optimize your time to build a better life because I know you've been going on trips. You've been going on trips specifically to meet new people, try new things. I mean, you were in a river with a flute a few months ago. Like, I don't know what that was all about, but like
Yeah.
it looked cool. And I was like, man, he's living his life and like and
Yeah.
business is good at the same time. Like very, very little people ever get to that point. It's like mo and I think one thing I really respect about you is you know what your enough number is, right? You're not one of those guys that has to like scale to the moon to see how far they can reach it, like if I make this amount of money per month, I can live the life that I want. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I respect that a lot because as an entrepreneur, I'm getting there, okay? Like
Yeah. I want just more, more, more.
yeah.
And I catch that bug myself. It's really interesting to see how the expectations scale. I think I shared a meme in the mindset motivation channel in Slack one time where it was like, something along the lines of maybe you're not recognizing your growth or giving yourself enough credit for your growth because you constantly keep leveling up. So, like, if I compared myself right now to even the last time I was at the podcast, I am like, and we're on a stairway, right? Like, I am multiple steps up
Yeah.
compared to
Mhm.
where I was. And you compare that to the person I was when I joined Reseller or a year prior when I first started reselling, and I
Mhm.
was many more steps below that as well. So I've leveled up quite a bit, and sometimes it's hard to see that. But like when you're just getting better 1% every day, and your systems are getting better 1% every day or every month or however you want to phrase it, um, it's hard to see that. It's the same thing where like if you're going to the gym, if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, it's kind of
Mhm.
hard to see your growth. But if you're taking a photo of yourself every single day, and
Mhm.
then you look at that, 30-day transformation, it's like, wow, I've grown pretty significantly at this time. Um, But to your point, there was something you said that I actually wanted to bring up because I was listening to the call from last night. just briefly before you we hopped on here, and you were telling people that, you know, they were focusing on the wrong metrics in regard to their like cost per lead versus like ROAS, return on ad spend. And I think one of the reasons why I'm successful in the way that I am is because I'm very, very practical and I always have been. So for me, I always focus on, am I making money or am I not? You know? And like
Yeah.
you mentioned, like I know my enough number. So do I have enough money for my expenses and then some? You know, can I go to the movies? Can I occasionally go out to eat and not have to worry about the expenses of that? Um, that's kind of all I need, you know. But right now, at this point in my life, do I have enough to also put some money aside towards my credit card debt? Actually, my credit card debt is wiped out, thanks in large part to, you know, Recelerator and everything I've learned here.
Wow.
So now I'm working on car loans and then student loans. But that's kind of the way I view it is like, do I have enough money for expenses? A little bit more to have some fun and live some life and go on vacations and
Yeah.
like put money towards, you know, Roth IRA and my debt, you know,
Yeah,
that's all I need.
I love that. So you completely wiped out your credit card debt.
Completely wiped it out.
That's amazing. That's awesome, dude.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Big
That's a big
congrats.
step, dude. Like,
Big time.
yeah. I mean, I think I'm just gonna say that's a really big step that
Totally.
like a lot of people miss. Um, like there's and the thing is like you did it fast, right? Like it's not like it took you Dave Ramsey way 5 years to, do it, right? Putting a couple bucks there, a couple bucks here, like all of that is reselling, phone flipping, buyback profits, right? Like that's cool. That's really cool. That's
Thanks.
awesome. Like, I mean, next thing is car, and you said student loans. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot. It's probably like under 20K between both of them. So
Yeah, that'll be wiped out
Okay.
by next year. Yeah.
within a
Dude,
year,
you'll
I'll be
be
debt free.
be
Yep,
completely debt free. Yeah. That's awesome.
for now.
Wow. Wow.
Well, the thing is once you pay off the debt, you don't typically go that far back into it if you like that's one thing I found whenever I started like paying it down. I was like, I don't want this like this ever again, kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it'll never happen like that. But you know, like maybe I meet someone and you know we buy a house and then you know that's some
yeah.
degree of debt. But it'll be much more intentional and
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That'll be
yeah,
much different. Yeah. That's a different
You'll
type of
have an
debt.
asset.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Credit cards are not assets. So
No.
No.
just spending other people's money and then owing them more money back. So, but dude, that's awesome. Matt, do you have anything or any word wise wisdom things you usually do? That was a word
You know,
vomit there.
when Chris told me, sorry, my computer is wanting to be challenged because it's raining here, and I think my signal is like just acting a little hiccupy. Um, I remember, I think I was the very first person to talk to you, Kevin, as far as like the coach's call. This is like more than 2 years ago. And I remember that call, and I remember the guy on the other side of the phone. And um, I say this with great respect for Kevin. Uh, but it went something like, "Hey, I basically got just enough to get in this course. I need this to work." And it was more or less like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. Um, and I'm just kind of curious, like, there's a, how do I put it? There's a mindset that sort of marinates and grows as you go into this. And we've talked a lot about how the business can never like supersede like the nature of the individual. Like, right, these things grow together, like almost like in symbiosis with one another. Um, but I would love for you to maybe riff on what that what that has been like for you from that space, like to this space. Like, what would you say are some of the kind of major earmarks or um, road signs on the road to your success that you passed and you never necessarily thought that you would when you were
Mhm.
in like that kind of position of life or headspace, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing that up. And I think, one of the great things about community is we can act as mirrors for one another. And so, you just reflected a mirror back um, of a previous version of me that, you guys have watched grow and transform over the years, which is pretty cool.
It is.
Um, but yeah, I was really at a point where I still am recovering. My nervous system has dealt with, years of chronic stress and depression and some
Mm,
mental health challenges. And I bounced around, living in this state and that state, trying this job and that job, and trying to find my meaning and purpose in life, and just not reaching it. And then being in my 30s and just
mm,
being like, man, like I'm single. I still haven't found a purpose. I still haven't found a career. I've built up a lot of debt at this point,
mm.
and I had experienced some of the toughest, straight up paralyzing experiences regarding mental health just before, and kind of congruent with the time I joined a reseller. So I
Yeah,
really was at that breaking point where I was like you said, this needs to work, or I don't know, like I'm gonna go become a monk and just like stop, trying this other version of life. That was honestly where I was at. It's like this is gonna work, or I'm gonna go, become a monk probably.
yeah. Okay.
Which maybe that path would be pretty cool too. But
Right.
I was pretty close to just giving up. And so I just wanted to frame that and speak to that a bit.
Yeah.
But then your, kind of more concrete question was like road marks, I think, along the way, or could you help?
Signpost. Yeah, your signpost on the road to success. Like as you've passed those things, like what has been the significant change? Some obviously there were things that had to adjust, whether that was soft skills, um, literal reselling stuff, but then there's also like mindset things and probably like the just the posture of like your heart and the way you're like approaching life. It had to change, and I want people to be able to hear that because I know that what happened in you is relative to the changes that other people are going through and will
Yeah.
probably have to go through. So I think it all matters.
Yeah, I think the thing that is coming up for me, that is, really important for me is that utilizing that framework that I just presented, my nervous system had been under a lot of stress for so long.
Yeah.
And my entire goal of making money is not to make money, it's to heal my nervous system and find a purpose in life and create a life where I don't have to hustle and stress too much.
Yeah.
I got my financial needs met. I can meet a woman one day and, feel comfortable taking her out to dinner and taking her out to the movies and whatever else I want to do. And I still have more left over.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like a confident man with with women or amongst my peers. I felt inferior because I hadn't found the purpose, and I hadn't, been
Right.
making good money. And so like I know that money is not the, solution to everything, but it
Yeah.
does solve a decent amount of problems in life.
It
It
helps you get
does.
your head above water a little bit, right?
Yeah, I can breathe a little bit and, see what's up there. It's kind of nice up here.
Right. It
Um,
doesn't solve all the problems, but it does lower blood pressure.
Yeah, yeah. And so like I honestly view so much of it through the lens of like mental health and nervous system regulation. And that
Okay.
is what I've been trying to do for so long. But
So sorry to interject. That sounds like this is
yeah,
part of this has just been a focus of like, okay, let's find normal and try to operate from there. Like, you're vacillating, like a compass, that is looking for a true north. And, this is part of the process in helping you to get dialed in that direction, it sounds like.
yeah. I was in a valley and I wanted to peek my head above, get a little higher up on that hill and kind of see what's on the horizon, and
Yeah.
see how I can build my life from there. But it's hard to see what
Yeah.
how you want to build your life when you're in a hole and you're
Yeah.
surrounded by dirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
Um,
Fair.
So that's
so
appreciated.
allow me to maybe frame this in like a few questions in, and I'm going to
Sure,
try to express this with sensitivity towards your journey, but also with
sure.
things that myself and Chris have probably observed. And Chris, if you want to chime in at some point as well. Um, Okay, so talk to us about how confidence has changed from that time to this.
Yeah, so still working on it. It's a work in progress. But I mean, I think it's not a stretch to say that I was pretty helpless and hopeless. I think
Uh-huh.
like from when I joined or close to it.
Yeah,
You know, I had seen some success, but it wasn't enough, and I wasn't sure if this was going to work out. I wasn't sure if life was going to work out.
yeah,
And so, from that,
uh-huh.
and speeding ahead to now, I am very confident that even if I don't try, even if I lower down all of my advertising money that I'm spending,
Hmm.
I will probably still make like 5K plus a month. And that's probably me being, a little conservative.
Wow.
Um, and so it's pretty remarkable. And, that's confidence that my business is going to succeed,
Hmm.
but that absolutely, bleeds out into other areas of life.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do walk around with a bit more confidence. Yeah, overall, I would
Well,
say.
I think the
Yeah.
fact that you use the like use it, I mean, number one, using the scheduled meetup model takes a level of confidence that most flippers
Yeah.
don't have,
Yeah.
right? It's like, hey, I can't buy your device right now, but I can get it at 5 o'clock,
Yep.
right? Like that alone is like in my mind, it's confidence, right? And it's certainty as well. Um, and I mean, for me now, I mean, I guess it's elevated from confidence and certainty to that's just how it works for me at all. Like that's it. Like this is how it is.
Mhm.
There,
Mhm.
that's all that works for me. And if it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry, kind of thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
But I guess that I mean that is confidence in and of itself, right? It's like I don't need that deal because I have other deals that
Yeah.
I know are going to happen at this point. I know that I'm going to make $5,000 a month even if I shut my ads off.
Yeah.
Like that's confidence. Like,
Yep.
so, I mean, I would say from the man that I met the first time to now, dude, you're a different person, like through and through. Like, if we were going by XP, I would say, you've probably grown by about 30,000 XP,
Uh-huh.
experience points over here. So,
Yeah.
We talk about
so,
what game we're talking about now, so I can see how that scales in relation
right,
to
yeah,
what
I don't,
level
I
I'm
was just making one up, but,
in.
um, like
Yeah.
it's powerful. Like there's a level of confidence that you have now that I think a lot of people wish they had. Like a lot of people, I mean, just with the scheduled meetup model, like you even created your own version of how to do it. Like
It's
here are
pretty
the
cool.
times that I have available, and now other people use that in inside of Recelerator, right? It's
Hmm.
just a different phrasing and messaging, and it works better for some people, and I love that, right? That's
Yeah.
the whole point of the community is like
Yeah.
learn from each other and like you give a lot to the community, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
You're
Touche.
always in there answering questions. You're dropping memes for motivation. Like it's cool, I mean, that Slack community is more active than my 15,000 person Facebook group, like, which is that's awesome. And
Yeah.
you're a I would have to say you're one of the 10 pillars in the community that keep it running, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Been around long enough to start becoming one of them OGs or those guys that looks
Yeah,
like
like
a
OG
staple,
Recelerator. Yeah.
which is pretty cool. All right. Two more quick questions then, Kevin, if
Sure.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't mind indulging us. The next one was there's a lot of different approaches people have towards money. There can be scarcity mindsets, abundance mindsets. Some of those come with fear. Some of those come with loaded other emotions. What are your thoughts and feelings surrounding like work and money from like then till now?
Um, it's really fascinating. I still find myself in a scarcity mindset sometimes. A great example is but I can catch myself a lot more quickly compared
Uh,
to in the
Nice.
past. And I also have the data to show that like objectively, there's no reason to think that I'm dealing with any amount of scarcity here. So it's like I just got to look at my spreadsheet and I know that
sure.
I'm doing quite fine.
Would
That's
you
Uh,
why tracking is powerful, people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna throw that in there.
That's
Like,
right.
if you don't track your stuff, you really don't know what's going. Like, I got a great example of this, right? So the other day, we hadn't had anybody join Recelerator in probably 2.5 weeks, which is not normal, right? It's usually one person a week.
Yeah,
Um,
usually.
and I was like, something's got to be wrong. Something's broken. Something's wrong. I went and looked at the numbers, and I was like, let's run the numbers again. Nah, something's wrong. Run them again. Same output. And it was like 8.7x from my ads to people joining, and I was like,
So pretty good.
I should probably not change anything. So I let it roll. And then the next day somebody joined, right? But that's like, I mean, what you said is like you like I got in a scarcity mindset, but I immediately ran to my numbers, right?
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah,
and that it calms the storm, right? And I think I messaged Matt after that, and I was like, all right, we're doing fine. Like
you did.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do anything here. Like,
I can
like
vouch he
it's
did. He
fine.
messaged
We're
me.
good here,
Yeah,
right? I was like, I just need to wait. I need to be patient. The numbers always work. So
yeah,
I love how you said that. So you can just run your spreadsheet and it kind of quells that anxiety and see
Yeah.
what you get.
Well, and something else that I want to briefly say, if I can remember, my brain's not working too well today because I'm still recovering, but scarcity mindset. Uh, yeah, there was an example that I have. I guess I'll start there because the other thing isn't coming up for me. But the scarcity mindset thing, oh, it's okay, I got it.
You got it.
Sorry, guys. Thanks for dealing with me. Um,
you're doing
but yeah,
great.
basically,
It's
if I'm
good.
like, I've noticed, Chris, you mentioned like your scheduled meetup model.
Hmm.
That's this is just the way it is for you now.
Yeah.
And for me, I've noticed anytime I try to deviate from that, that's when I become much more vulnerable into falling into the scarcity mindset or any other thing
Ah,
like manipulation. If somebody is trying to sell me a fake phone, I'll be much more likely to fall for that because
Mm.
I'm very in tune with, how much energetic resources do I have on a daily basis? And
mm,
I'm very in tune with when I run out of those. And when
Yeah,
I do run out of those, I am much more vulnerable to those, scarcity mindsets or, other things I was mentioning. And so when I start to break those systems and I go to meet up with people, or someone asks, "Hey, can you meet at 4 o'clock rather than 5:30 and 6?" Then I meet up with them at 4 o'clock, but then other people want to meet up at 5:30 and 6, but I got to run the UPS and I haven't done that yet. And so now I got to squeeze this in between 4 and 5:30.
yeah,
And all of a
right.
sudden, my nervous system is stressed and I'm elevated and I'm scattered, and somebody calls and I don't give them the right quote in that moment. And so, like, when I do not
yeah,
stick to my systems, it messes everything up. It messes everything up.
yeah.
Yeah.
It throws an extra cog in the system, and it breaks everything. Yeah, no, I 100%. I never even looked at it that way, but that's exact. So the other day, a good example of this. It was after my 5 o'clock meetups, right? I had somebody call me from Google. They had an iPad to sell. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm on my way back from dropping some packages off, and I'll just meet you at the Starbucks. Then I was like, 5:45, right? They showed up 30 minutes late, man.
Worse.
I was like, I was like, I broke my own system, son of a and I'm
Yeah.
out, and my wife is upset because the kids are at home. Like it's a whole like my day is done. Usually at 6 o'clock,
Yep.
like, and it broke the whole system. I still bought the thing, but I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I should have just done it for tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
because it actually messed the rest of my evening up, you
Hmm.
know? And like for those of you that like have never been into like a system that you've gotten used to that works, breaking that system is like kind of like what Kevin said. It like your blood pressure gets elevated, you start getting like snappy, like it's
Yeah.
a whole thing. Like it's like old people, right? That are set in their ways. Like they got to do this walk or whatever every single morning, otherwise their day is crap, right? Like it it's kind of like that. So, um I 100% vibe with that because
Yeah.
that it screwed up my whole evening waiting till that guy got there. And it
Yep.
was one of those things where, it was like 5:45. He's like, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And then he showed up at 6:30. And I was like, like,
Right. And
I
now
should
you're
have.
accommodating yourself, attuning to his schedule. He's not attuning to yours.
It
And
was one of those guys that was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm 5 minutes away, 5 minutes away, 5 minutes away, just lying about how
Be
far
there
away
for
they
a
are.
half hour.
right.
Yeah, I
Then
hate that
sends
so
me a
much.
screenshot, says it's 12 minutes away. I'm like,
5 minutes away
like,
times six.
Hmm.
yeah. So I broke my own rule the other day, but that helps me reinforce the rule again. It's like the rule was there for a reason, you
Yeah.
know. And for me, it's my meetups are 5 to 5:30. I leave at 5:30. We're done. Like, if you're not there, I'm leaving, kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
I do that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I just leave, and then they get mad at me, and I'm like, look, I told you, and then I accommodated this person because I don't know, I just did. But it
Something
reinforces the
that,
rule.
So yeah, Kevin, like to the point of like your structure or your system,
yeah.
like you're very it's you're as the point Chris is making and you're making, you're very self-aware of your bandwidth. You realize that certain things come with a limited supply, like decision making, like, you know, the ability to sit and just be present with people and look at their product. Like, so wherever you were headed with that, man, keep it rolling. It was good.
Um, well, let's see. There was something I was going to say in regard to money that I wanted because you were asking about like the money mindset and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that I've been very intentional along the way. I've painted that picture this entire time that we've been talking. And where I'm at now, interestingly, is I'm at a point where, and this actually ties into systems too. So I'm at a point where like I always wanted to build to a point where I'm happy with my number and I
Yeah.
have a little bit of cushion to then be able to, take on a virtual assistant. And even if it's not immediately working out and I'm not getting like immediate return on investment with them, it doesn't really matter because I have a little bit of additional money to play with. So that ties into, your first prompt of, like the how I'm thinking about money. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then also like being intentional about like systems and bandwidth because even though I've developed the system to the point where, for the most part, I can handle the daily flow. I
Hmm.
noticed towards that fifth or sixth day, I'm starting to run out of energy. And I don't think just having a Sunday off is enough because normally you guys know how it is.
Hmm.
Um, that Sunday, if you got one day off, that's filled with errands, right? I'm doing my
Yes.
laundry, I'm doing my grocery shopping, I'm
Yeah.
doing whatever else is happening, and I don't have a true day off.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about that, in relation to like my schedule and my systems and my bandwidth. Hiring someone is absolutely one way to address that.
Mm.
But I've also thought about like, what if I was to choose like the perfect schedule for me that I could like repeat. I'm kind of learning this as I go, but like I feel like I don't even know if I want 2 days off in a row. I kind of like staying in momentum, but I also kind of run out of steam. So I thought like maybe like I have a Wednesday off and a Sunday off. So I get that like midweek break. I
Hmm.
can just go really hard for like Monday and Tuesday, take a midweek break, and then go really hard for Tuesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday, sorry,
Yeah.
and Saturday, and then take off Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to implement that, but I just wanted to share that because,
I like
regarding
that.
regarding your prompt, it's just like I'm trying to be very in tune with like where and when am I running out of steam and how can I build my schedule or life in such a way where that doesn't happen? And if I can't do that, then I'll need to hire.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But even if I do hire, do I have the bandwidth to hire? Is this schedule going to work while also being able to train someone? Because being able to train someone is going to take a
Right.
certain amount of energy and bandwidth and structure for me to provide to them and guidance for me to provide to them. And so I've already kind of contemplated this. Whenever I do hire, I'm definitely going to lower my ad spend and I may or may not reduce my schedule. And going into mindset around money, I'm okay with making less during those months. I don't care because the idea is that this is a long-term business and I'm
Hmm.
building something that is meant to be sustainable for a long period of time.
Hmm.
So even if I had to take off for like a month at this point, I would never do that. I would like keep something going. But even if I took off for a month at this point, I'm pretty confident there are a lot of people the second I open up business again that would do business with me. So if I got to dial it back and integrate some systems and retweak some things,
Hmm.
I'm comfortable with doing that. And, that speaks to the confidence that we were talking about before, and that speaks to the systems and the kind of mindsets around money and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
So you view money as energy, more or less, which is what it is, if we're being real. Like,
Well, it enables me to, the amount of money that I make and how hard I work to get it is probably the more, you know, important factor, is definitely a determining factor
Yeah.
of how much energy I have outside of work. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, behind certain earning power, there's an impetus of like effort that everybody has or is like put forth. That's for sure. Um, there was a kind of like a last question, and you can riff on this or not, but I just wanted to think like, with all of this comes like an increased like level of freedom. And from seeing you from the like, I would say when you first encountered Chris and I and like jumped into Recelerator till now, you seemed a lot more trapped. Whether this was in like spaces or cycles of your own conjuring or like just the things we can get caught up in, like 9 to 5s and schedules and things of that nature. Uh, you just seem like a person who is, whether I, I can't speak objectively as to whether you feel like you're a lot of it or a little bit more like free than in that space, but I would love if you could like just kind of maybe say a little something about that, to anybody who's listening and would want to hear this.
Sure. I am not one to sugarcoat things, I will tell you guys the absolute truth, and that is that unfortunately I still do feel quite trapped in many ways.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I have come leaps and bounds away from how trapped and paralyzed I was when I first joined.
Yeah.
I'm much more I feel trapped, but I also see ways out,
Yeah.
and I feel much more in control. And also,
Hmm.
whenever I see that, like, oh, I'm falling into this pattern or that pattern, or, I'm starting to get a little bit more pessimistic, I
Yeah.
look and I see, like, have I made enough money this month or recently, or like, where are my systems at? Can I afford to just, like, take a week off? If I'm reaching a breaking point, you guys know this. I reached a breaking point this past summer,
Yeah.
and I said, well, I'm going to plan 3 vacations for myself.
heck
And
yeah,
so I just did that. And one of those vacations was it was supposed to be a 3.5 day mindfulness retreat. But I was at such a breaking point where I called the monastery and I was like, I think I need to show up early. Can I show up early? And they said yes. And so I ended up spending like 5 or 6 days at a Buddhist monastery. I did
Hmm.
not look at my phone that entire time. And I just set up an auto response that said, hey, I'm, out of the office until this date, and I'll be back to, help you out
Wow.
on Monday at this date around 10 a.m. And I'll talk to you then.
That's cool.
Um, yeah. So it's a
Hey,
work in progress. Um, but I feel like I see the cogs in the machine that I need to that I see the knobs that I need to turn
yeah.
to escape it, and I'm a lot closer.
Yeah.
awesome.
I think the thing I gotta appreciate is like there's the idea of, still working through things, and I respect that, man, because I think everybody, has those things that they can be. But like to have the option, and freedom looks like options. Like an increase in income, means more options. To have the option to say, you know what, I'm not going to work this month. I'm going to be deliberate about scheduling 3 vacations. Like the Kevin I first met didn't have the capacity to do that in many ways. And the fact that you did now is a massive win. Like I just got to celebrate that and say that is like too cool. It really is great.
Yeah,
That is
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
I think it's. Yeah, dude. I mean, it does give you a lot of options. I mean, my options where I can homeschool my kids, right?
So
Like that's
cool.
a big option. Um, is it hard? Yeah, but I'm good at hard things, so I'm fine with it.
Hey,
But like, I mean, what you said there is like, yeah, it gives you more, it just gives you more options. And I think that's where we see the freedom is like we have the power to choose now and the monetary piece behind it to also make it work, right? Like, I mean, this past weekend, I just randomly bought tickets to go to a place called Dig World for my kids, where they could play around with the excavators and everything. We did that on a whim, you know? I was like, okay, we're not doing anything on Sunday. Cool. We're gonna go and do this.
cool.
And we just bought the tickets, showed up, and they
That's
had a
sick.
great time. So
That's
it's,
Yeah.
sick.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's big. I think a lot of people, but also like there's also the other path, right? Where you I mean, how do I even say this? Like it's the entrepreneur bug that makes you scale, 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 right? And you never do any of those, and then you trap yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I've seen so many people like build their business up and then trap themselves in their
Yeah.
own business to where they like I mean, Matt, we've tried scaling Recelerator what, how many times now? And then we just got to the point where it's just like, you know what? Let's just build this business to where it like gives us a good life and
Yep.
like leave it at that. Like like
It's
like I
that's
am
true.
I am so stress free about it. Like payroll is I have payroll done every week. People get paid. Everybody's happy. Everybody's still making good money.
Yep.
Like, but it's at the point where it's just like it's cool, you know? Like same thing with my reselling business. Like I'm still meeting people locally and it's just on my terms like fully now. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's not my only income at this point. So it's like, yeah, you either meet me this time or we don't meet kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
you figure it out, right?
And
It gives
people
me a
got to
lot of
understand.
options.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. People got to understand, guys. Like Chris went from 2 kids to 3 kids. 2 kids is like you're still like man to man. 3 kids, you're in a zone D now. Like it is like it's 12 kids.
We're
3 kids is
outnumbered,
12
you know?
kids, right? It's cat herding. You're like, oh my gosh, and
It's a whole
I
thing,
think
dude.
yeah, I think it's cool because like yeah, there was a lot of spaghetti being thrown at the wall there for a while between the two of us.
Yeah,
And
because
Kevin,
I'll be real, it was mentors telling me that too. I'll be real. Like there
yeah,
were certain mentors that I had that were like, you need to scale this thing as big. You need 100K a month, you know? Like scale Recelerator up to 100K a month. Matt, 100K a month. That's 25 clients a month. Like, bruh, I don't want to deal
that
with that many people. Like,
that
that's a
equals
lot of
two
people.
very yeah, 2 or 3 very tired coaches and a lot of
Yes.
questions.
At that
Yeah.
Um,
point, we don't have time to live our lives at that point, or let alone run our own reselling businesses. I like running my reselling business. It's
same,
easy for me. It's
same.
fun. I get to meet people and I make money at the same time.
Yeah,
So it's like,
You also wouldn't be in a place to provide value to those students if you're just burnt out.
correct.
yeah,
100%. I wouldn't be able to help. One client a week is perfect. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
one, two. We had a stint a while back with four, and I messaged Matt, and I was like, "Oh my God, like this is, I don't like this. This is not cool. I don't like this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
I
didn't have the
like
bandwidth
yeah,
for everybody else, right?
yeah. I can
So I
appreciate
think,
that. I think one thing about this, and I'm going to say this to the point of like what Chris and I are talking about, and also Kevin being a part of this, is like I feel like there's still an accessibility to Chris or myself or Aaron. Probably more so Chris or myself because Aaron sometimes is just I don't know.
Aaron's running Mercury. That's a whole
yeah,
different
he's
He is.
busy.
He's a direct buyer, and that's a whole other ball of wax. And so we're going to give him a lot of grace for what he's doing. But like the access point, like if anyone's ever taken a course, and Kevin, you probably know this, like you can sign up for something and then feel like you're just like another like transaction. Uh,
Yeah.
you're not like this isn't real. And I just like there's a part of me that just refuses to sort of like be that kind of individual because you always just feel like I don't know, like something just feels a little more slithery about it than I really want to vibe with. And that's one thing I just kind of want. I appreciate Chris. It's like up to this point, like manage to maintain our own resale businesses and also like still can access. So that like with someone like your onboarding call, that very first onboarding call, Kevin, like I felt like I was able to be like very present in that space, you know? And some guys are like that, where it's like, okay, we're gonna move at this like a little more casually at first, and then maybe you're ripping. And some guys are like, all right, dude, show me what to do, tell me how to do it, and get the frick out of my way because I'm about to murder this thing, right? And you get guys that are going at this from like very different paces. And cool thing is you can very quickly kind of catch the pulse of what person you're dealing with, and then just like turn them loose. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
with like, I mean, I'd have to say I've learned a little bit from you, Kevin, by like just watching you and you trying to figure out life rather than how to figure out money first, right? And I think that's a big like big thing for me was that specifically because I think my old mindset was, all right, cool, money is the ultimate fix, right?
Yeah.
If I fix that problem, all the other problems will be fixed. I'm sorry, but money is not going to fix your marriage. It's not going to fix your relationships. It's not going to fix your how you handle your kids. Like all of that is just it comes from different buckets, right?
Yeah.
And typically not a money bucket, unfortunately.
Very
Um,
good. Very, very true. Yeah.
it's usually a knowledge bucket and a like stillness bucket, like to your
Hmm.
point where let I don't know, I just really respect how you've built the business around your life so well. I wish it was something that I would have like figured out earlier.
Hmm.
Um Instead of like going through all the other. I think it was for me, I would have to say it was when we had Philip. Life slowed down. Like
Yeah.
because it was forced. It was a very forced thing, you know?
Yeah.
Um
In a good way.
yeah, I can't do a sales call when a baby's crying next to me, you know? Like, or I can't go, I mean, I can bring the baby to the meetups, which I've done many times, you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, for me, I think it was forced, but I really respect that you've been able to like intentionally do that.
It's really interesting how everybody has a different situation too. I look at someone like you and I get a little bit envious in the sense that, like, I think one of the issues with me is that even though I've been intentional with building my life and my business,
Hmm.
like I said, I'm a single guy, I don't have a family. And so I feel like it's almost like I'm going to share a study with you guys to illustrate this point, but I'm paralyzed by too many options. Like, I own my
Mhm.
business. And I remember like my friend texted me the other day and I asked him and like if he had any days off and he had texted me asking if I had any days off. And I started thinking, I was like, well, technically I could take off whatever I want, right?
Let me ask my boss.
But yeah, right. Let me ask my boss. But that's kind of intense, right?
Yeah.
Having that amount of options. And there's a psychological study that demonstrates this called, I don't know if it's called the jam study, but I call it the jam study, where they basically put like 16 jars of jam in a real shopping center and just, paid attention to how many people bought a jar of jam. And then they put 4 jars of jam in that same aisle. And lo and behold, people were much less likely to even make any choice whatsoever when they had 16 options in front of them. They didn't buy any jam, but when there was 4, they would buy at least one of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ever since I learned about that study, I was kind of mind blown because it is kind of the problem of the modern world and information age that we live in right now is like we have, even just isolate it down to like dating, dating apps, we can swipe and it's just like I have this option and that option and that option and that person. And if this person doesn't work out, I got so many more that I can swipe on,
Oh boy.
or I can go to another country. We can just fly to another country now, right? And so there's a lot of options. And so I was painting this picture and saying I was envious of you to a degree because when Philip came into your life, you were forced to design your life in a certain way.
Mhm.
And so I think when those outside factors come into play, you're forced to work around them. It's the same. You look like you have something to say.
It's funny, I just finished a book on this exact topic where he was talking about this. It was
Mhm.
The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. fuck,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a good book. I recommend reading it. But at the very end, he was talking about this. He talked about how his life was like before with so many options, and
Hmm.
before he had a family, before he had a wife, before he had everything, right? And oh, what's up? What?
He wants to show you his handwriting.
Speak of the devil.
Oh, look at that. Writing his
Yes.
words. Is that Dennis?
Nice.
Yeah, he drew Dennis from Minecraft.
That's awesome. Good job, buddy.
Good job, man.
Oh, Dennis is a square dog with square
Legs.
legs and something tail.
A square
A
tail.
square tail. Let me finish my call and then I'll read a little bit more, okay?
And I got Dennis.
Gonna read it to me now. Uh-huh.
This is my favorite toy.
That's adorable. Thank you, buddy.
Did so good. All right, you're all done with schoolwork, buddy.
So
Tremendous. How great was that little soundbite
that
That
yeah,
was
that's going
perfect.
on. Yeah,
right
that was good.
there?
That was good. So, but that honestly, that displays the freedom I have, right? Like,
Yeah.
like my son can just walk in here and show me how proud he is of his words, right? Because he's learning how to spell and write and all of that, right?
Yeah.
What's crazy is I still have the itch to like, hey, I'm on a call. But that's one thing I'm fighting. You guys probably saw me battling it there for
Sure.
a second, right? Still something I'm working on, right? Because of my old self, basically. Um, but back to what I was saying was the guy in the book was talking about how he had so many options
Hmm.
and how his life felt completely meaningless because of that. Like
Hmm.
he could go to any country, he could have all the women, he could have all the stuff, he could work from anywhere, right, in the world. And that's what most people want. But then he talked about after he got married and settled down, he was like, there's a power in limited choice.
Yep.
And and it's not, and a lot of people feel trapped by that because they
Yeah.
see the other people on the outside world going to the different countries and everything,
Yep.
right? He's like, but
Mhm.
there's a power in like only giving yourself certain options,
Yeah.
right? And if you, and then he's like, and then they're like, you can go deeper into those options. Then it opens up into even better options,
Mhm.
right? For me, like, I'll give a good example of this. Like just now, the homeschooling. The only way like that would be a thing, it's because of I gave myself limited options. I
Hmm.
chose one woman. I chose
Uh-huh.
one business model, right? I chose, and and now it gave me even more options. If I would have just done a job, he would be going to school right now, and that moment would have never happened.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like,
Sure.
so what you're saying, Kevin, is like, yeah, I relate with it, and that hit me hard when I read that in the book, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, you
Yeah.
get more options when you go deeper into the options you chose
Mhm.
to stick it with, right? Um, and for me, what's crazy about that is I'm incredibly protective of the options that I chose now. Like
Yeah.
like I mean it goes kind of back to the scheduled meetup model, right? It's like just to put it back in phone flipping terms, like I'm incredibly protective of that now because I've seen what giving people unlimited options will do
Hmm.
because they will not choose, right? And ultimately the scheduled meetup model comes from that. Is like I remember when I learned that in Amway. Whenever I was doing the Amway thing, multi-level marketing, every entrepreneur's first thing, right? So, um, I remember my mentor telling me, I was like, I can't get people to book appointments. I'm giving them all these times and they're never picking anything. He's like, oh, just give them 2 times and tell them to pick one. And I was like, what? That makes no sense. Like, and he's like, just do it, try it. And I was like, okay. So I did it, and lo and behold, they just picked the time.
Yep.
And I was like, oh. And then later on, my wife, who is basically, I have to like commend her, and she was the creator of the scheduled meetup model. She was
Mhm.
like, because I was running around after I went full time flipping,
Yeah.
and she hated it. New baby, our first kid, right? And she was always
That one.
home alone, and I was always running out, and getting pissed off by no shows, right? And she was like, can you just like do that thing we learned in Amway where it was like you just meet people at specific times?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that because people need me as soon as they, blah blah blah."
Yep.
And I got no showed at 9 o'clock at night,
Mm-mm. No.
and that was the end of that. Like that was it. That broke it. And I was just like, okay, well, that's it. You either come to me or that. I mean, this is how it works now. And
Yep.
that is when I had my first $10,000 profit month was
Yep.
when I streamlined everything and I chose my times over everybody else's times.
Yeah.
It's like so based on what you were saying there, I mean, I can relate heavily. And I think Matt can too. Matt's probably incredibly protective of his choices and the what he's chosen over time and gone deeper in.
Yeah. I mean, people don't know, like my story goes in a different direction because at the top of January 2024, my father passed. You know, it's been navigating, like this is going to sound heavy, guys, but navigating death, trying to figure out how to take care of my mom. How do I help my parents, through their financial snafus? There's a whole other podcast that all of that could go on.
Yeah.
But I sort of I would love to maybe hear Kevin, like what has just been like a really great deal that just like surprised the crap out of you. You're just like, dude, what the heck? Like what has just been something that, really um one of those. I would love for you to share one of those because people love those. Those are
They
great.
do love those. Yeah. We need to do more
Like
of
one of
those.
my best flips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I have one that immediately pops to mind. I made $1,300 off of one flip. That was my best flip ever.
Heck yeah.
Um, and it was a reach out, and it was on camera gear, of course.
Naturally. Yeah.
Uh,
Of course.
yeah, it was just one of those situations where I was having a relatively slow month and my ad spend was pretty low, and I was just kind of allowing myself space to kind of feel out what I wanted to do. And that's another thing that, I think a lot of entrepreneurs in this space don't allow themselves to do that. I mentioned this before, where I feel like a lot of people just get on a hamster wheel and they just like, they stay on that wheel. Anyway, I'm digressing. Back to the flip.
Yeah.
I was in that space, and because I had given myself that space, I had space to go on Marketplace and just do a very intentional reach out.
Uh-huh.
And I saw this deal posted for a camera. I believe it was like a Sony Alpha R4.
Heck
So it
yeah.
was like
That's a good camera.
pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm pretty sure it was selling between like 3,200 to 3,500 on eBay. And the guy had it listed for a pretty competitive price already. But I talked him down, I think like $500, I think from like 2,800 to like 2,200,
Uh-huh.
something like that. And it came with two lenses.
Oh, there we
And
go.
to be honest, and one of those lenses was selling for $1,000.
Whew.
So,
Wow.
I looked into the lenses, but I wasn't exactly sure that they were going to sell for as much. Like I thought it was too good to be true. I
Okay.
looked into them. I don't even know if they gave me the specs on them. What I do personally now is like if I see a marketplace photo, or if they send it to me, I just plug it in the ChatGPT and I'm just like, what is this?
Heck yeah. Let's go.
And
Love it.
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, that's the, GSM2 blah 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 lens. I'm like, okay. And then,
Yeah.
I don't immediately trust it, but I go ahead and I do the research and I confirm that with, eBay listings and I match the photos and stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
Um,
gem right there somebody uses after hearing this. Because I talk
Probably.
about that
Yeah.
Yes.
all the
Totally.
time and I forget that I do it all the time.
Yep.
It's like I will screenshot the photo on Marketplace and be like, what is this?
Yeah.
And like, give me the actual name so I can find it on eBay. Kind of thing.
Yeah. And it works for
Yeah.
really obscure stuff too.
Yes.
People just send me stuff on, and that brings me to another topic of just like the overarching topic of just, saving bandwidth is like I don't have time to look into what that item is and do my own research. Like I'm just gonna offload this to ChatGPT and accelerate that process, and then I
Yeah.
don't need to eat up all my cognitive resources in the process.
Yeah.
Um, But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But I was it was right place, right time. They posted it like the night before, and I hopped on it that morning. And this was one of the few times where I did actually just bend my scheduled meetup model. I wasn't like I didn't have it completely cemented in place
Yeah.
there at
Yeah.
that time a couple months ago. And I just like offered them like, hey, I'll meet up with you like now, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
To be clear with everybody, I will bend my schedule meetup model if it's like 300 plus in profit,
Straight
typically.
up.
I will do that.
Yeah,
Straight
That's
that's
up.
what
not,
it is
that's
for me.
okay to me. Like I'm like the Valve Index deal I got.
That's okay.
There's been a few deals where, like for example, like the drone that I bought, I had the dude deliver it to my house because we kind of knew each other, so it was like it was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So I didn't do a scheduled meetup model there. But like if it's enough profit,
Yeah.
I'll bend it, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that because it's worth it at that point. But if it's like 80 to 120 in profit, absolutely not. Like I'm okay.
And then the other
Yeah.
thing is like, how much value is this client bringing to? Like, I've
Yes,
been working with this other guy since I've moved to Pittsburgh. He is one of my oldest clients, and I've always driven 20 minutes to meet him 5 minutes from his house. But he's still working with me 3 years later,
that's
and I
worth it.
still meet him by
That's a
his
Yeah,
good point.
house.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So
that
I don't
is
mind doing
worth it.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, well, I want to say, I mean, Matt went with the highest profit thing. I love that. I love that topic. Recently, I made $1,500 in profit off of one item. I'm about to make it all again because Mac
You bought
Studio,
two of them.
right?
Yeah.
I bought two of them, $1,500 in profit, which is crazy,
Nice.
right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I want to like segue that a little bit here to um diversifying what you buy, right? Like you
Yeah.
buy a lot of stuff now. Like not just you still buy a lot of phones, but you
Yep.
upsell a lot too. And you get a lot of other devices now. A lot of people that I get, and still I mean, I've been preaching this for years. Like it's like even my mentor Dave preached it. It was like buy more than phones, right? But
Yeah.
like it's you you have to. Like if you really want to grow,
Yep.
and you don't want to hustle all the time, you
Yep.
need to buy things outside of phones. Because I mean, are you gonna like your $1,300 camera deal? How many phones does that take to make that? You
At
know,
least 13,
at least
probably.
13, right? Like that's 13 separate meetups, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a whole thing in and of itself. So like, talk a little bit about that, dude. What all are you buying now, electronics wise?
Well, I will say that there are pros and cons to diversifying.
Mhm.
And that if I'm not familiar with something, and maybe I'm just having a busy day, you guys know this. Every
Yeah.
day is kind of a battle of just what do I triage? What conversations,
Yes.
am I going to prioritize today or in this moment? And so if I do notice this is going to take a little bit more time to appraise and or, there might not be enough resale value there, I'm just going to shove that to the bottom of the list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, I have uh, a list of things that I buy, and I've experimented with putting them in kind of like bullet point pattern because my thinking is that that's just easier to read than we buy iPhones, comma, iPads, comma, MacBooks, comma, blah, 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 blah. So instead of the person getting a paragraph, they're getting like a bullet point list of all the things that I buy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's working or not because I don't really have a way of like testing that. I guess I could ask for feedback from the clients, but that list basically is iPhones, iPads, MacBooks, smartwatches, virtual reality stuff, cameras. And then I've adjusted the list. The list used to say consoles. I personally, Matt, you worked with me on a lot of Switch deals back in the day. I
Yeah.
personally stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I don't like parting it out and playing with all those parts.
Yeah.
Um,
People have preference.
I would,
I get it.
so I changed it. I swapped out consoles to PS5/Xbox Series X.
Huh.
So I'm basically only buying the newest gen consoles, but I've been
Yeah.
thinking about adding them because, the other thing is like a Valve Steam Deck. You don't got to part that out and you
You
can make
don't.
$100 on that.
You can
Um,
all
so
day.
I'll buy those. And then the other thing is like that's the foundation, right?
Yeah.
And then there are things kind of on the outside of that, like music gear. I met a
Yeah.
guy on a reach out, um, bought one piece of music equipment from him, and I've probably met with him 6 to 8 times since then
Oh, wow.
for additional pieces of music equipment or uh, PS5 he sold me. He also sold me 3 phones at this point. Um, so that's another example of how, one reach out can lead to a recurring,
You're also
client. But
really good with your customers too. Like you're like the way you talk to your repeat customers is stellar. Um, like you're always trying to make sure they're taken care of and that they keep coming back. And I think that's one thing a lot of people miss. And that's one thing I really like. You share your messages in Slack about it all the time.
yep,
And I really like that. You really care for your repeats and you want to make sure they're taken care of.
yep.
And
Yeah, and it all
how did
ties
you come
into
to that
everything we've
realization?
been
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
well, it all ties into everything we've been talking about, in that if I'm not taking care of myself, I cannot provide that level of care to my clients.
That's
I
true.
do I do recognize all of the intentional energy that I direct towards facilitating those types of relationships. And
Yeah.
I do notice when um I'm not all there, for lack of a better way of putting it, and I
Yeah.
can't provide that at the level that I want. And that's usually when I will take that step back and go visit the Buddhist monastery for a week. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to reset so that I can not only provide myself the necessary space, but also that I can take care of my clients and not get crabby with them and irritable and mess up a good relationship that I've been cultivating for 3 years.
I have a question about that because there's going to be people listening to this podcast and be like, you took a week off. What about all of your customers?
Too bad.
Fuck,
I can wait.
boom. Let's go.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
I love it. But
Yeah.
okay, let's be real though. Like, you like most of those people wait for you though.
Most of them do, yes.
Yeah. Like that's a big part of it. Like I remember
And
I was on vacation in Tennessee and two of my repeats hit me up and I was like, "Look, guys, I'm in Tennessee. I can't buy them right now, but when I'm back, I can." And they were like, "All right, cool. When are you back?" This day we'll meet at like
yeah,
5. And they're like, "All right, cool. I'll be
yep.
there."
So I want to speak to that really briefly, and say that there was this one example you guys know where I had this very toxic guy, and Matt, you sometimes I need people to just tell me to cut the cord, and you graciously told me drop that guy, and I appreciate that because
Yeah.
I knew at my core that this guy was just bad news and I did not want him in my life. It's one of those situations where if I am paying attention to, what's happening internally, every time I deal with the guy, I get an increase in stress pretty significantly, even if it's
Yeah.
just like supposed to be a routine meetup. Um, I can dig into that, but that similarly would be maybe another podcast. But the fact of the matter is that I cut him out. I cut him out. I cut him
Yeah.
off. And I texted my friend who's, lives a very spiritual and intentional life and designs his life in a very intentional way. And I told him about what I did. I sent him the text and everything. And he said that he sent me a quote back that essentially said that um, it'll make room for the right people to enter your life. When you're cutting out that person, you're making room for the right people to enter your life.
Mm.
And I have found that to be true. This guy was being pushy with my boundaries. He did not like my scheduled meetup model. So he
Right.
did not fit the mold that I was trying to build.
Yeah.
And he was taking, I would be scared to increase ad spend because a lot of my energetic resources were being spent dealing with him.
Mm,
Mm.
And so the second I cut him out, I got more resources to deal with everyone else that has been
Yeah.
treating me well. And I got
Yeah.
more room to deal with new people that might be able to take his place that could be open to working on my terms and respecting my boundaries and
Yeah.
dealing with me going to a Buddhist monastery and even respecting it and asking me questions about it. And we could have conversations about it and talk
yep.
about life. And I love doing that with my clients.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
That's I think that people got to realize that not mo more than money is about deposits and withdrawals. So are relationships and people. And there's an exchange between everybody. Even if it's transactional with business, there's still like give and take. And some people, despite what they bring to the table, seem to take more than they give. And
Mhm.
those are types of people that I think you can't manage to tolerate and just keep them around because eventually you got to realize like this bill feels overdue and it always feels overdue. And there's a burden here that comes with this person's presence that and I can't cash this out. So it's like I think that was really smart. Um, yeah. And sounds like you got a great friend in your corner that was, back there cheering you on.
Heck
That's
yeah.
cool.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, it was an
guys, I think
eye-opening one.
it's probably a good place to end this one.
Yeah.
We've been chatting for a while.
Yeah, a minute. Yeah. Good
Been a
stuff
good
though.
one.
Good stuff.
Been
So
a good
guys,
one.
like at the core, this is what it's, the managing life and a $10,000 a month plus business, right? Like $10,000 a month in profit, right? That's 5-figure sales, right? So like there's pieces once you get to that level that you have to put in place. And I think we talked a lot about that today. Um, I think we had good conversations on that.
Yeah.
What it looks like, how you need to kind of build boundaries, how you need to um, look at money and all of that stuff. And I think, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to, for Kevin to be on the next one, in 50 more
Absolutely.
episodes, right? Like, see where he's at then, right? I really enjoy these episodes where we bring people on again and they're higher up than they were the previous time. And
Yeah.
I really like, I love the level ups, the level up podcast. That's what I'm gonna call them. And I really enjoy them, and I really appreciate you taking the time to
Sure.
do this today, Kevin.
Yeah, man. As I
Awesome.
got people hitting me up and calling. Time to get to work.
Time to get to work. Awesome, dude. I really appreciate it. Guys, this has been another episode of the Smart Flip. We all got reselling stuff to do, apparently. I got leads hitting me up as well. So I've got to schedule them in for 5.
Yep.
But make sure to check out all the descriptions and stuff below for all the stuff. Make sure to, if you want to, join the school community. Make sure to finish it. The book is, you can also buy the book on Amazon, but you can also
Yep.
listen to it for free on the podcast. And with that being said, that has been another episode of the Smart Flip. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.
Later.
Later, guys.